Reinvent yourself. Stop overthinking. Master the art of letting go. Written and published by Elevate Book. Stop overthinking. Master the art of letting go. A guide to freeing your mind and embracing peace. Introduction. Overthinking is a silent struggle that affects millions of people worldwide. It keeps us up at night, makes us second-guess our decisions, and stops us from taking action. This book is designed to help you break free from the cycle of overthinking and learn the art of letting go. You will discover why overthinking happens, how it affects your mind and body, and proven strategies to let go of unnecessary worries. Using a blend of psychology, neuroscience, historical insights, and real-life stories, this book will empower you with practical tools to reclaim your mental clarity and confidence. By the end of this journey, you will be equipped with the skills to trust yourself, take action without fear, and find peace in the present moment. Chapter 1. The Power of Silence. Introduction. The Overthinking Epidemic. In a world that never stops moving, where information is constantly bombarding us from every direction, silence has become a rare commodity. We wake up to notifications, rush through our morning routines, and fill our days with noise. Whether it's social media, emails, or the endless chatter of our thoughts. But amidst all this chaos, there exists a secret weapon against overthinking: silence. Silence is not just the absence of noise. It is the space where our minds can breathe, reset, and gain clarity. It is in silence that we can hear our own thoughts without interference, where we can process emotions, and where we can begin the journey of letting go of the unnecessary mental clutter that keeps us trapped in overthinking. This chapter is about understanding and embracing the power of silence. We will explore why silence feels uncomfortable for most people, the scientific impact of silence on the brain, how great thinkers, leaders, and visionaries have used silence as a tool for success, practical exercises to integrate silence into your daily life. By the end of this chapter, you will not only understand the importance of silence, but will also be equipped with actionable steps to use silence as a tool for clarity, confidence, and peace of mind. Why we struggle with silence. Have you ever noticed how most people feel uncomfortable in a quiet room? Silence makes us face our thoughts head-on, and for many, that is an unsettling experience. When there's no external distraction, we are left alone with our own minds, and sometimes that can be a scary place to be. We fill our lives with noise to avoid silence, whether it's through background music, endless scrolling on our phones, or constantly seeking social interactions. But why? There are three main reasons why silence feels uncomfortable. 1. Fear of confrontation with ourselves. When we are surrounded by noise, we don't have to think deeply about our lives. Silence forces us to confront our past mistakes, our fears about the future, unresolved emotions. This is why many people avoid silence, because it requires them to face their own thoughts. 2. The illusion of productivity. In today's society, being busy is often equated with being successful. If we are not actively doing something, sending emails, attending meetings, or multitasking, we feel like we are wasting time. However, some of the most productive and creative breakthroughs happen when we are not actively working, but instead allowing our minds to be still. 3. Addiction to noise and stimulation. Social media, notifications, and the constant buzz of information train our brains to crave stimulation. When that stimulation is removed, we experience withdrawal, leading to discomfort and silence. But what if I told you that embracing silence could actually make you less anxious, more focused, and mentally stronger? Let's explore how silence physiologically changes the brain for the better. The neuroscience of silence, how it rewires your brain. Scientific research has revealed some astonishing benefits of silence for the human brain. A study conducted by Duke University found that 2 hours of silence per day led to the growth of new brain cells in the hippocampus, the region of the brain associated with learning, memory, and emotional regulation. Another study published in the journal Brain Structure and Function found that silence reduces cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and activates the brain's default mode network, DMN, which helps with problem solving and creativity. Here's how silence benefits the brain. 1. Reduces stress and anxiety. When you are constantly bombarded with information, your brain goes into overdrive. Silence allows the nervous system to reset, reducing stress and anxiety levels. 2. Enhances focus and decision-making. Silence helps clear mental clutter, making it easier to focus and make decisions. When you remove unnecessary noise, you gain clarity on what truly matters. 3. Boosts creativity and problem-solving skills. Many of history's greatest minds, including Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, and Leonardo da Vinci, use silence as a tool for deep thinking and creative breakthroughs. When your brain is not constantly distracted, it has the space to connect ideas, generate insights, and solve complex problems. Historical case study: the silent genius of Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein, one of the most brilliant minds in history, was known for spending long periods in solitude and silence. He often took long, silent walks in nature, allowing his mind to wander freely. It was during these quiet moments that he came up with some of his most revolutionary theories, including the theory of relativity. Einstein believed that the best ideas come not from constant thinking, but from allowing the mind to be still. His story is a powerful reminder that true genius is not found in constant mental noise, but in the ability to embrace silence and let ideas naturally emerge. Practical strategies: how to integrate silence into your life. Now that we understand the power of silence, let's explore how to incorporate it into your daily routine. 1. The 10-minute daily silence practice. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Focus on your breathing and allow your mind to slow down. If thoughts arise, observe them without judgment and let them pass. Continue for at least 10 minutes every day. This simple practice will train your brain to become comfortable with silence, reducing overthinking over time. 2. The silent mornings method. Start your day in silence for at least 30 minutes. No phone, no social media, no conversations. Use this time to reflect, plan your day, or simply enjoy the peace of the morning. This habit will set the tone for a calmer, more focused day. 3. The power of silent walks. Walking in nature without distractions is one of the most effective ways to calm the mind and gain clarity. Try this. Go for a 15 to 30-minute walk without your phone or music. Focus on your surroundings, the sounds of birds, the feeling of the air. Let your thoughts flow freely without trying to control them. This practice will help you detach from overthinking and become present in the moment. Conclusion: silence as the key to mental clarity. Silence is not emptiness. It is a space for clarity, creativity, and inner peace. By embracing silence, you can reduce stress and anxiety, make better decisions, improve creativity and focus, break free from the cycle of overthinking. In the next chapter, we will explore why overthinking happens in the first place and how to recognize its patterns before it takes control of your mind. But for now, take a moment to sit in silence. Let your mind breathe. Let go. Chapter 2. Understanding the Overthinking Mind. Introduction. The mind that never stops. Have you ever caught yourself trapped in a mental loop, replaying the same thoughts over and over? Maybe it's an embarrassing moment from years ago, or a decision you can't seem to make. Perhaps you lie awake at night, analyzing every detail of a conversation, wondering if you said the right thing. This is overthinking, and it is one of the most exhausting mental habits a person can have. Overthinking feels like you're solving a problem, but in reality, you're just running on a mental treadmill, exerting energy but going nowhere. It creates stress, leads to indecision, and robs you of your ability to enjoy the present moment. In this chapter, we will explore why overthinking happens and the science behind it. The two main types of overthinking, rumination and worry. How overthinking creates stress, decision paralysis, and mental exhaustion. Real-life examples of people who broke free from overthinking. Practical strategies to stop overthinking and gain clarity. By the end of this chapter, you will have a deep understanding of how your mind works, and most importantly, how to regain control over your thoughts. Why do we overthink? The hidden causes. Overthinking is not just a bad habit. It is a deeply ingrained survival mechanism. The human brain evolved to solve problems and anticipate danger. Thousands of years ago, overthinking helped our ancestors avoid threats, like predators or poisonous plants. But in today's world, those same survival instincts misfire making us overanalyze situations that are not life-threatening. We overthink for several reasons. Fear of making the wrong decision. We want to be 100% sure before we act. Fear of the unknown. The brain dislikes uncertainty and tries to predict the future. Perfectionism. We believe there is a perfect answer, so we keep thinking until we find it. Regret from the past. We obsess over mistakes, hoping to rewrite history in our minds. While these reasons seem logical, they actually keep us stuck. Overthinking does not lead to better outcomes. It leads to more stress, doubt, and inaction. To break free from overthinking, we must first understand the two types of overthinking and how they hijack our minds. The two types of overthinking. Not all overthinking is the same. Psychologists identify two main types. 1. Rumination, overthinking the past. Rumination is when you dwell on past mistakes, regrets, or failures. Example: you keep replaying an awkward moment from a meeting and wonder what others thought about you. Example: you regret a decision from years ago and think, if only I had done things differently. Rumination is a mental prison that keeps you stuck in the past. It serves no purpose, yet we continue to engage in it because we believe it will somehow change what happened. 2. Worry, overthinking the future. Worry is when your mind creates endless scenarios of what might go wrong in the future. Example: you hesitate to start a new business because you imagine all the ways it could fail. Example: you avoid a difficult conversation because you assume it will end badly. Worry tricks us into believing that thinking more will prepare us for the future, but in reality, it only creates anxiety. The science of overthinking. How it affects your brain. Overthinking is not just a mental habit. It actually changes the structure of your brain. 1. Overthinking overactivates the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the brain's decision-making center. When you overthink, this area becomes overactive, making even simple decisions feel overwhelming. Example: choosing what to eat for dinner becomes an exhausting mental battle. 2. The brain's fear center, amygdala, gets overloaded. Overthinking triggers the amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for fear and anxiety. When this happens, your stress hormones increase, cortisol. Your heart rate goes up. Your body enters fight or flight mode, even when there is no real danger. This is why overthinking often leads to physical symptoms, such as headaches, insomnia, and muscle tension. 3. The brain gets stuck in a thought loop. Neuroscientists have found that repetitive thoughts strengthen neural pathways. The more you overthink, the stronger the habit becomes. It's like a path in the forest. Walk it enough times, and it becomes a deep trail. The good news? You can rewire your brain by breaking the overthinking loop and replacing it with new mental habits. Historical and scientific insights. How great thinkers overcame overthinking. Many of history's greatest minds struggled with overthinking. 1. Marcus Aurelius, the power of Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and philosopher, practiced Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us to focus only on what we can control. Instead of overthinking problems, he asked himself, is this within my control? If not, I must let it go. This simple mindset shift can help you stop worrying about things you cannot change. 2. Albert Einstein, the power of mental detachment. Einstein believed that stepping away from a problem led to better thinking. When he struggled with an idea, he would go for a walk or play the violin. This allowed his subconscious mind to find solutions. This teaches us that forcing yourself to think harder often leads to mental blocks. Sometimes, letting go is the key to clarity. Practical strategies to stop overthinking. Now that we understand why overthinking happens, let's explore actionable techniques to break free from it. 1. The what's in my control technique. Whenever you catch yourself overthinking, ask, is this in my control? If not, what can I do instead? By focusing only on what you can actively change, you stop wasting energy on things beyond your control. 2. The write and burn method. Write down everything you are overthinking about. Then, physically destroy the paper. Burn it, rip it, or throw it away. This sends a signal to your brain that it is time to let go. 3. The 2-minute rule for decisions. If a decision takes less than 2 minutes to make, decide and move on. This prevents small decisions from turning into hours of mental stress. Conclusion: understanding your mind is the first step to letting go. Overthinking is a habit, but like all habits, it can be unlearned. By recognizing why your brain overthinks, using historical wisdom and science-backed techniques, and applying practical exercises, you can break free from mental loops and regain control of your thoughts. In the next chapter, we will explore how fear fuels overthinking and how to break free from fear-based thinking. For now, remember this: thinking too much about the past keeps you stuck. Worrying too much about the future keeps you anxious. But focusing on the present, that sets you free. Chapter 3: How Fear Controls Your Thoughts. Introduction: the hidden link between fear and overthinking. Imagine standing at the edge of a diving board, ready to jump into the pool below. But instead of taking the plunge, your mind starts racing. What if I slip? What if the water is too cold? What if I land awkwardly and everyone laughs? Instead of acting, you hesitate. You overthink. You stand frozen in place. This is how fear operates in our minds every single day. Fear is one of the biggest drivers of overthinking. It keeps us stuck in analysis paralysis, prevents us from making decisions, and magnifies our doubts. Fear fuels overthinking, and overthinking amplifies fear. This chapter is about understanding the connection between fear and overthinking so that you can break free from fear-based thinking. We will explore why the brain is wired for fear, the what-if trap and how it keeps you stuck, the science behind fear and decision-making, real-life examples of people who overcame fear-based overthinking, practical strategies to stop fear from controlling your mind. By the end of this chapter, you will have a step-by-step system to stop fear-driven overthinking and start making confident decisions. Why fear exists: the brain's survival mechanism. Fear is not always a bad thing. In fact, fear is a survival mechanism that has helped humans stay alive for thousands of years. Our ancestors needed fear to avoid life-threatening dangers, wild animals, poisonous plants, or enemy attacks. Their brains developed an alert system that triggered fear whenever they sensed a possible threat. This alert system still exists today. But instead of lions and wolves, we fear failure, embarrassment, rejection, and uncertainty. The problem? The brain does not know the difference between a real, physical danger and an imaginary fear. To the brain, public speaking feels as terrifying as being chased by a tiger. Making a decision feels like stepping into an unknown jungle. Taking a risk feels like walking into a battlefield. This is why fear-based overthinking is so common. The brain thinks it's protecting you, but in reality, it's holding you back. The what-if trap: how fear keeps you stuck. Fear-based overthinking often comes in the form of what-if questions. What if I fail? What if I make the wrong decision? What if people judge me? The problem with what-if thinking is that it never leads to action, only more questions. The more you entertain what-if scenarios, the more your brain creates worst-case scenarios. You convince yourself that everything will go wrong, even when there is no evidence of it happening. The result? You hesitate. You avoid making decisions. You feel stuck. But here's the truth: 99% of your fears never come true. Studies show that 85% of the things we worry about never actually happen. Of the remaining 15%, most people realize that they are capable of handling the situation better than they expected. This means that fear-based overthinking is mostly an illusion. It is a mind trick that keeps you trapped in hesitation. The science of fear and decision-making. Neuroscientists have discovered that fear literally shuts down the brain's ability to make decisions. Here's how it works. When you feel fear, your amygdala, the brain's fear center, activates. This sends a signal to your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making. The prefrontal cortex freezes, making it hard to think clearly. This is why people who are stuck in fear-based overthinking feel mentally exhausted. Their brains are constantly trying to fight between fear and logic. But the good news? Just as fear can shut down your brain, you can train your brain to override fear. Historical example: how Franklin D. Roosevelt mastered fear. During the Great Depression, millions of Americans were living in fear and uncertainty. People were afraid of losing their jobs, their homes, and their financial stability. In 1933, Franklin D. Roosevelt, FDR, gave his famous inaugural speech, saying, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." FDR understood that fear was paralyzing the country. People were so afraid of making mistakes that they stopped taking action. By shifting the national mindset, he helped people move past their fear and rebuild their lives. This lesson applies to all of us. Fear is only powerful if you let it control you. Once you shift your focus, fear loses its grip. How to stop fear-based overthinking. Practical strategies. Now that we understand how fear controls our thoughts, let's explore actionable ways to stop fear-based overthinking. 1. The so what method. When fear makes you overthink, ask yourself, what if I fail? So what? I'll learn from it and try again. What if people judge me? So what? Their opinion doesn't control my life. What if I make the wrong choice? So what? I can adjust my path later. This method removes the power of fear by showing you that most fears are not as serious as they seem. 2. The 5-second rule to take action. Mel Robbins, a motivational speaker, developed the 5-second rule to override fear and stop overthinking. Here's how it works. When you feel fear-based overthinking starting, count 5-4-3-2-1 in your head. The moment you reach 1, take action. Don't give your brain time to talk you out of it. This method tricks your brain into moving forward before fear can take over. 3. The worst-case scenario reality check. Fear thrives on exaggeration. To take away its power, ask yourself, what is the absolute worst-case scenario? How likely is it to actually happen? Even if it did happen, could I handle it? Most of the time, you'll realize that your fears are overblown and that you are stronger than you think. 4. Shift from what if to what is thinking. Instead of imagining the worst-case scenario, focus on what is happening right now. What if I fail? What can I do today to increase my chances of success? What if I make the wrong choice? What information do I have right now to make the best decision? Shifting your focus from fearful imagination to present action reduces overthinking and increases confidence. Conclusion. Fear loses power when you take action. Fear-based overthinking is one of the biggest mental roadblocks that prevent people from living fully. But here's the truth. Fear only has power if you let it control you. Most fears never come true. Taking action reduces fear faster than thinking about it. By using the strategies in this chapter, you can train your brain to stop fear-based overthinking and start living with confidence. In the next chapter, we will explore how to break free from analysis paralysis and start making clear, confident decisions. For now, remember this: fear is a liar. The best way to silence it is to take action. Chapter 4. Breaking the Cycle of Analysis Paralysis. Introduction. Stuck in the endless loop of overthinking. Have you ever found yourself staring at a menu for way too long, struggling to decide what to order? Or maybe you've spent weeks, or even months, debating whether to take a new job, start a project, or make an important life change, but you just couldn't decide. This is analysis paralysis, the state of overthinking a decision so much that you end up doing nothing. It is one of the most common forms of overthinking, and it is one of the most destructive. When you are stuck in analysis paralysis, you overanalyze every option until none seem good enough. You delay making a choice, fearing you'll make the wrong one. You mentally exhaust yourself, but never take action. In this chapter, we will explore why people fall into the trap of analysis paralysis, how fear, perfectionism, and too many choices fuel overthinking, the science behind decision fatigue, and why more thinking doesn't lead to better decisions. Practical strategies to break free from decision paralysis and make confident choices. By the end of this chapter, you will have a clear roadmap for escaping analysis paralysis, so you can stop overthinking and start moving forward. Why we get stuck in analysis paralysis. Analysis paralysis is caused by several psychological traps. 1. The fear of making the wrong choice. Many people overthink decisions because they are afraid of regret. They believe that if they choose the wrong option, they will ruin their chances of success, happiness, or fulfillment. Example. Someone thinking about leaving a job keeps asking, what if I leave and regret it? What if I stay and miss a better opportunity? What if I make a mistake and can't undo it? This fear creates endless mental loops, making it impossible to move forward. 2. The illusion of the perfect decision. Many people believe there is a single right decision that will guarantee success. They keep overanalyzing because they think that if they just gather enough information, they will find the perfect answer. But the truth is, there is no perfect decision, only decisions you make and learn from. Example: someone deciding whether to start a business waits for the perfect time, but years pass without them ever taking action. Perfectionism leads to hesitation, and hesitation leads to inaction. 3. Information overload. Too many choices create mental blocks. The more choices you have, the harder it is to make a decision. This is known as the paradox of choice, when too many options cause stress instead of clarity. Studies show that when shoppers are given too many brands of jam to choose from, they struggle to decide and often walk away without buying anything. People presented with too many retirement plans often fail to enroll at all because they can't decide which is best. Too much information creates decision paralysis instead of clarity. The science of decision fatigue. Why more thinking doesn't help. Neuroscientists have found that the brain has a limited capacity for making decisions each day. This means that every decision, big or small, uses up mental energy. This is why successful people reduce minor decisions, like what to wear or what to eat, so they can save brain power for important choices. This is why after a long day of work, you may struggle to decide what to eat for dinner. Your brain is too exhausted from making decisions all day. Decision fatigue makes it harder to think clearly, leading to more hesitation, more overthinking, and worse decisions. Historical example: how Jeff Bezos and Steve Jobs avoided analysis paralysis. 1. Jeff Bezos' 70% rule for decision-making. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, has a rule for making decisions. If you have 70% of the information you need, make the decision. If you wait for 100% certainty, you've waited too long. He believes that fast, imperfect decisions are better than slow, perfect ones. 2. Steve Jobs' minimalist approach to decisions. Steve Jobs wore the same black turtleneck and jeans every day. Why? He wanted to eliminate minor decisions so he could focus his energy on more important creative work. Both Bezos and Jobs understood that overthinking wastes mental energy, so they found ways to simplify decisions and act quickly. How to break free from analysis paralysis. Practical strategies. Now that we understand why overthinking decisions happens, let's explore proven techniques to break free from decision paralysis. 1. The 80-20 rule for decision-making. The 80-20 rule states that 80% of results come from 20% of actions. Instead of trying to analyze every detail, focus only on the 20% of information that matters most. Example: if you're choosing a job, focus on salary, culture, and career growth, not on minor office perks. This helps you filter out distractions and make decisions faster. 2. The good enough mindset. Instead of looking for the perfect decision, ask, is this option good enough to move forward? This prevents overanalyzing and encourages action. 3. The 2-minute rule. If a decision takes less than 2 minutes to make, decide immediately. Example: choosing what to eat, what to wear, or what email to send should not take more than 2 minutes. Making small decisions quickly trains your brain to trust itself. 4. Set a decision deadline. Instead of overthinking forever, set a time limit for making a decision. Example: I will decide by Friday at noon, no matter what. A deadline forces you to take action instead of endlessly analyzing. 5. Take the first step, even if you're not sure. You don't need to see the whole path. Just take the first step. Instead of overthinking whether to start a business, just create a rough plan and test an idea. Instead of worrying about the perfect workout routine, just go for a short walk today. Taking action, even small steps, reduces overthinking and builds momentum. Conclusion: trust yourself and move forward. Breaking free from analysis paralysis is about learning to trust yourself and take action. Remember, there is no perfect decision, only decisions you make and learn from. Overthinking does not lead to better results. Taking action does. Fear of mistakes is what keeps people stuck, but mistakes are how you grow. By applying the strategies in this chapter, you will start making confident decisions, stop second-guessing yourself, and move forward with clarity. In the next chapter, we will explore how to let go of the need for control and embrace uncertainty as a natural part of life. For now, remember this: clarity comes from action, not thought. Make a decision and move forward. Chapter 5. The Science Behind Letting Go. Introduction. Why letting go feels impossible. Have you ever tried to stop thinking about something, only to find that the harder you try, the stronger the thought becomes? Maybe it's a mistake from the past that replays in your mind like a broken record. Maybe it's a person you can't stop thinking about, even though they've moved on. Maybe it's an opportunity you missed, and now you can't help but wonder what if. Letting go is one of the most challenging mental shifts, but it is also one of the most liberating. We hold on to pain, regrets, and past experiences because they feel familiar. The mind prefers certainty over peace, even if that certainty is causing suffering. In this chapter, we will explore why the brain struggles to let go of thoughts, emotions, and regrets, the science of attachment, and how it keeps us stuck in overthinking, the psychological and neurological benefits of releasing mental clutter, real-life stories of people who mastered the art of letting go, practical, science-backed strategies to train your mind to release what no longer serves you. By the end of this chapter, you will have a step-by-step system to stop holding on to unnecessary thoughts, regrets, and worries, so you can finally move forward with clarity and peace. The science of attachment and why the brain clings to the past. To understand why letting go feels so hard, we need to examine how the brain processes and stores experiences. When we go through a significant emotional experience, whether good or bad, the brain creates neural pathways that associate certain thoughts with emotions. For example, if you were rejected in the past, your brain creates a mental connection between relationships and pain. If you failed at something, your brain associates new opportunities with potential disappointment. If you made a mistake, your brain keeps replaying it, thinking it's protecting you from repeating it in the future. This process is called emotional conditioning. The more you repeat a thought or experience, the stronger these neural pathways become, just like a path in a forest that gets deeper the more it is walked on. The result? Your mind clings to past thoughts and emotions, making it difficult to let go, even when you consciously want to. Why we resist letting go. The 3 psychological barriers. If letting go is beneficial, why do we resist it? There are 3 major reasons. 1. Fear of the unknown. The mind is wired for survival, and survival means predictability. Even if holding on to something is causing pain, the brain prefers the certainty of suffering over the uncertainty of letting go. Example: someone stays in a toxic relationship because they fear being alone. Example: someone keeps replaying their regrets because they don't know who they'd be without their past identity. The brain sees the unknown as a threat, which is why letting go feels risky, even when it's the best choice. 2. Emotional comfort and familiarity. Sometimes, holding on to emotions, whether anger, sadness, or regret, gives us a sense of identity. A person who has been hurt may hold on to their pain because it validates their experience. Someone who has always been anxious may struggle to let go of overthinking because it feels like a part of them. Letting go often requires changing your self-image, and that can feel uncomfortable. 3. The subconscious belief that letting go means giving up. Many people equate letting go with losing. If I let go of my anger, does that mean what they did to me was okay? If I let go of this regret, does that mean I'm saying my mistake didn't matter? But letting go is not about erasing the past. It's about freeing yourself from the mental weight of it. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means choosing peace over unnecessary suffering. The psychological and neurological benefits of letting go. Studies have shown that letting go has profound effects on the brain and body. 1. Reduces stress and lowers cortisol. Holding on to regrets, worries, and past emotions keeps your body in a state of stress. Studies show that rumination, replaying negative thoughts, increases the production of cortisol, the stress hormone. Letting go calms the nervous system, reducing stress and anxiety levels. 2. Increases decision-making clarity. When your mind is free from mental clutter, you make faster and clearer decisions. Instead of analyzing the past, your brain has more space for present-moment problem-solving. 3. Strengthens emotional resilience. Letting go rewires the brain to handle challenges with more mental flexibility. When you train your brain to release unnecessary thoughts, you become more adaptable to change and uncertainty. Letting go is not just about peace, it's about creating mental strength. Real-life example: how Oprah Winfrey learned to let go. Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential women in the world, has spoken openly about her struggles with letting go of past traumas and regrets. For years, she held on to resentment toward people who had hurt her. She believed that holding on to anger gave her power, but in reality, it was draining her energy. She later said, "Forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could be any different." This mindset shift allowed her to let go of the pain that was weighing her down, and she went on to build a life of success and peace. This teaches us that letting go is not about excusing the past. It's about freeing yourself from it. Practical strategies to train your mind to let go. Now that we understand why letting go is difficult, let's explore practical ways to train your mind to release what no longer serves you. 1. The 3-question method. When a thought keeps repeating in your mind, ask yourself, is this thought helping me? Is this thought within my control? What action, if any, can I take right now? If the answer to the first 2 questions is no, let the thought go. 2. The let it burn visualization technique. Write down the thought, emotion, or regret that is weighing on you. Close your eyes and visualize placing it into a fire. Imagine watching it burn away, feeling the weight lift from your mind. Breathe deeply and affirm, "I release this." This technique trains your brain to detach from repetitive thoughts. 3. The 90-second emotional rule. Neuroscientist Dr. Jill Bolte-Taylor discovered that emotions only last 90 seconds unless we keep fueling them with thoughts. Whenever you feel a wave of anxiety, regret, or sadness, follow these steps. Pause and observe the emotion without reacting. Let it flow through you for 90 seconds. Do not attach new thoughts to it, just let it pass. This technique prevents emotional spirals and helps you release emotions faster. Conclusion: letting go is a skill you can train. Letting go is not something that happens overnight. It is a daily mental practice. By using science-backed strategies, real-life insights, and a shift in mindset, you can train yourself to release regrets, worries, and past emotions, allowing you to live with mental clarity and peace. In the next chapter, we will explore how mindfulness can be used as a tool to stop overthinking and quiet the mind. For now, remember this: holding on is exhausting. Letting go is freedom. Chapter 6. The Role of Mindfulness in Overcoming Overthinking. Introduction. Why mindfulness is the key to mental freedom. Have you ever found yourself trapped in an endless stream of thoughts? Replaying a past mistake, worrying about the future, analyzing a conversation from days ago. Your mind races, and no matter how much you try, you can't turn it off. This is the exhausting cycle of overthinking. But what if there was a way to quiet the noise, detach from intrusive thoughts, and fully experience the present moment? That's exactly what mindfulness offers. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present and aware, without judgment. It allows you to observe thoughts without being consumed by them, giving you the ability to break free from overthinking. In this chapter, we will explore the science behind mindfulness and how it rewires the brain, why the mind constantly wanders, and how mindfulness helps regain control, how mindfulness creates emotional stability and reduces stress, real-life stories of how mindfulness transformed people's lives, practical, science-backed mindfulness exercises to stop overthinking. By the end of this chapter, you will have a step-by-step mindfulness framework to quiet your mind, reduce anxiety, and regain mental clarity. The science of mindfulness, how it rewires your brain. Mindfulness is not just a spiritual or philosophical idea. It is scientifically proven to change the brain. Researchers have found that consistent mindfulness practice physically alters brain structure, improving focus, emotional control, and mental resilience. Studies using MRI scans have revealed that mindfulness reduces activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center, lowering anxiety and stress, strengthens the prefrontal cortex, improving decision-making and emotional regulation, increases gray matter density, enhancing memory, focus, and cognitive flexibility. Simply put, mindfulness rewires the brain to be calmer, clearer, and more present. reducing the tendency to overthink. Why the mind wanders. Understanding the default mode network. Your brain has a built-in system called the default mode network, DMN, the part of the brain responsible for daydreaming, self-reflection, and spontaneous thoughts. The DMN is always active when you are not engaged in a specific task, which is why your mind wanders when you are driving without thinking, taking a shower, lying in bed at night. While the DMN is useful for creativity, it is also one of the biggest causes of overthinking. When left unchecked, it creates repetitive thoughts, excessive worry, and rumination. However, mindfulness has been shown to reduce DMN activity, allowing you to shift from unconscious thinking to conscious awareness. The more mindful you become, the less power overthinking has over you. The connection between mindfulness and emotional regulation. Mindfulness doesn't just help with focus, it also helps regulate emotions. When you overthink, you are often caught in an emotional reaction, regret over the past, worry about the future, self-doubt about your choices. Mindfulness teaches you to observe emotions without identifying with them. Instead of "I am anxious," mindfulness helps you say "I am experiencing anxiety, but it does not define me." Instead of "I can't stop thinking about this mistake," mindfulness helps you say "I acknowledge this thought, and I choose to let it go." When you separate yourself from your emotions, they lose their grip over you, allowing you to navigate life with greater clarity and inner peace. Real-life example. How LeBron James uses mindfulness to stay mentally strong. LeBron James, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, credits mindfulness as a key factor in his success. During high-pressure games, his ability to stay calm, focused, and present is what separates him from others. His secret? Meditation and mindfulness training. He practices mindful breathing and visualization before games, training his mind to stay in the moment rather than overanalyzing mistakes or fearing the future. This is a powerful lesson. Success in any area of life is not just about skill, it's about mental discipline. And mindfulness is the key to mastering your mind. Practical mindfulness techniques to stop overthinking. Now that we understand the power of mindfulness, let's explore practical, science-backed exercises that you can start using today. Each of these techniques is designed to quiet the mind, increase self-awareness, and break free from the cycle of overthinking. 1. The 5-4-3-2-1 grounding method. This simple exercise instantly shifts your focus away from overthinking and into the present moment. Whenever you find yourself lost in thought, follow these steps. Notice 5 things you can see. Notice 4 things you can touch. Notice 3 things you can hear. Notice 2 things you can smell. Notice 1 thing you can taste. This engages all 5 senses, anchoring your awareness in the now instead of the endless loop of thoughts. 2. The thought awareness meditation. This meditation trains your mind to observe thoughts without attaching to them. Sit in a quiet place and close your eyes. Focus on your breathing, slow, deep breaths. When a thought arises, don't fight it, just observe it. Imagine your thought as a cloud floating by in the sky. Instead of getting caught up in it, simply let it pass. This technique teaches you that thoughts are temporary, they come and go, and you do not need to hold on to them. 3. The breath focus reset. Breathwork is one of the fastest ways to stop overthinking and calm the nervous system. Try this simple breathing pattern. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 6 seconds. The longer exhale activates the parasympathetic nervous system, instantly reducing stress and bringing the mind into balance. 4. The single-tasking strategy. One of the biggest causes of overthinking is mental multitasking, trying to juggle too many thoughts at once. Instead, train yourself to focus on one task at a time. When eating, just eat. When walking, just walk. When working, just work. By fully immersing yourself in one activity at a time, you reduce mental noise and increase focus. 5. The body scan exercise for emotional clarity. This exercise helps you release stored tension and emotions that contribute to overthinking. Lie down in a comfortable place. Close your eyes and bring attention to your toes. Slowly scan upward through your body, noticing any areas of tension. As you reach each area, breathe into it and consciously relax it. By the time you reach your head, your entire body will feel lighter and more at ease. This exercise trains your mind to be more connected to the present, rather than trapped in thought loops. Conclusion: mindfulness is the key to mental clarity. Mindfulness is not just a practice. It is a way of thinking that frees you from the grip of overthinking. By using mindfulness techniques, you will quiet mental noise and reduce stress, detach from overthinking patterns, increase self-awareness and emotional stability. In the next chapter, we will explore how to build deep self-trust and confidence so that you no longer need to overanalyze every decision. For now, remember this: your mind is like water. When it is turbulent, it is hard to see. But when it is still, clarity comes naturally. Chapter 7. How to Build Self-Trust and Confidence. Introduction. Why self-doubt is the root of overthinking. Imagine this scenario. You're faced with an important decision. Maybe it's about changing jobs, starting a business, or even something as simple as choosing a restaurant. But instead of making the choice, you freeze. What if I make the wrong decision? What if I regret this later? What if people think I made a mistake? Your mind races with what-if scenarios, analyzing every possible outcome. The more you think, the harder it becomes to decide. This is the trap of self-doubt. At the heart of overthinking is a lack of self-trust. When you don't trust yourself, you second-guess your decisions, seek constant validation from others, worry endlessly about whether you are doing the right thing, fear making mistakes, and overanalyze every choice. But what if you could develop unshakable confidence, the ability to trust yourself completely and make decisions without hesitation? That's exactly what we will explore in this chapter. We will dive into the science behind self-trust and confidence, why overthinkers struggle with confidence, the role of fear and self-doubt and how to overcome it, real-life examples of people who built strong self-trust, practical, science-backed exercises to develop deep self-trust and confidence. By the end of this chapter, you will know exactly how to eliminate self-doubt, stop overthinking, and start trusting yourself. The science of self-trust. How confidence is built in the brain. Confidence is not something you're born with. It is something you build through experience and repeated actions. Neuroscientists have found that self-trust is directly linked to a brain process called self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is your brain's belief in its ability to handle challenges and make decisions. The more you take action, even in small ways, the stronger this belief becomes. Research shows that people with high self-efficacy make decisions quickly and trust their judgment, recover from mistakes faster because they believe they can adapt, experience less anxiety and stress in uncertain situations. The key takeaway? Confidence is not the absence of doubt. It is the ability to take action despite doubt. If you lack self-trust, it means your brain has been conditioned to hesitate and second-guess. But just as self-doubt is learned, self-trust can be learned too. The link between overthinking and low confidence. Overthinking is a symptom of low confidence in your own decisions. Think about it. If you trusted yourself, would you keep second-guessing your choices? If you were confident in your ability to handle mistakes, would you still fear making them? If you believed in your own judgment, would you keep asking for reassurance? Overthinkers struggle with self-trust because they believe they need to be 100% certain before making a decision. But the truth is, confidence is not about always being right. It's about trusting that even if things go wrong, you can handle it. Once you internalize this, overthinking loses its power over you. The role of fear and self-doubt. How fear makes us second-guess ourselves. One of the biggest reasons people lack self-trust is fear. Fear tricks us into believing, if I make a mistake, I'll regret it forever. If I fail, people will judge me. If I make the wrong choice, my life will be ruined. But here's the reality. Mistakes are how you learn. Most people don't care about your failures as much as you think. Very few decisions in life are truly irreversible. When you remove fear from decision-making, trusting yourself becomes much easier. Now, let's look at real-life examples of people who overcame self-doubt and built rock-solid confidence. Real-life example. How Serena Williams built unshakable self-trust. Serena Williams, one of the greatest tennis players in history, didn't become successful just because of her physical talent. She became great because of her mental strength. Throughout her career, she faced critics who doubted her, moments of self-doubt after losses, the pressure of being in the public eye. But she developed a mindset of self-trust by believing in her ability to figure things out, even when things were uncertain. She once said, "I always believe I can win. I never stop believing." This mindset can be applied to any area of life. You don't need to know the future. You just need to trust that you can handle whatever comes. Practical strategies to build self-trust and confidence. Now that we understand why self-trust is essential, let's explore proven techniques to build it. 1. The keep promises to yourself method. Every time you say you will do something and follow through, you reinforce self-trust. Start with small, daily promises. Wake up at the time you set. Stick to one small habit each day. Follow through on a simple task. The more you keep promises to yourself, the more your brain believes in your reliability. 2. The small wins mindset. Confidence grows through small victories. Instead of waiting for a huge breakthrough, focus on small achievements that build momentum. If you struggle with speaking up, start by asking one question in a meeting. If you fear making decisions, start by making quick, low-stakes choices. Each small win teaches your brain that you are capable. 3. The fast decision rule. One way to train yourself to trust your instincts is to make decisions quickly. Try this. For small decisions, what to eat, what to wear, give yourself 10 seconds. For bigger decisions, set a deadline and stick to it. Once a decision is made, commit to it instead of revisiting it. The more you practice fast decision-making, the more natural it becomes. 4. The inner voice reframe. Most people with self-doubt have a negative inner voice. I always make mistakes. I never know what I'm doing. I'm not good enough. To build self-trust, reframe these statements into self-supporting beliefs. I am learning from my experiences. I don't need all the answers. I trust myself to figure things out. I am capable and growing stronger every day. The way you speak to yourself shapes your confidence. 5. The fear exposure exercise. One of the best ways to eliminate fear-based overthinking is to face your fears in small doses. If you fear public speaking, practice talking in front of a mirror. If you struggle with decision-making, force yourself to choose one thing today and stick with it. If you fear failure, try something new where mistakes are expected. The more you expose yourself to discomfort, the more you realize fear is just an illusion. Conclusion: trust yourself and stop overthinking. Overthinking stems from a lack of self-trust. But self-trust is not something you are born with. It is something you build through action. By practicing self-trust daily, you will make decisions faster and with more confidence. Eliminate the need for constant reassurance. Reduce stress, anxiety, and mental overanalysis. In the next chapter, we will explore how taking action is the ultimate cure for overthinking. For now, remember this: confidence is built by doing. The more you trust yourself, the less you will overthink. Chapter 8. Using action to combat overthinking. Introduction. Why action is the antidote to overthinking. Imagine standing at the edge of a swimming pool. You know the water will be refreshing, you know you'll enjoy it, but instead of jumping in, you hesitate. Your mind starts spinning with thoughts. What if the water is too cold? What if I land awkwardly? What if I should wait a little longer? The longer you stand there, the harder it becomes to move. This is exactly how overthinking works in real life. When we spend too much time in our heads, we create unnecessary fear, doubt, and hesitation. But the moment we take action, whether it's stepping into the water, making a decision, or starting a task, the overthinking stops. Action breaks the cycle of overthinking because it shifts your brain's focus from endless analysis to immediate movement. In this chapter, we will explore the science behind why taking action rewires your brain for confidence, the psychological trap of thinking instead of doing, how overthinking kills momentum and progress, how successful individuals use action to silence doubt, practical strategies to train yourself to take action without hesitation. By the end of this chapter, you will have a step-by-step system to stop overthinking and start moving forward with clarity and confidence. The science of action-based confidence. How taking action rewires the brain. You don't need confidence to take action. You need to take action to build confidence. Neuroscientists have discovered that the brain is designed to reward movement and decision-making. Here's how it works. Every time you take action, your brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter that boosts motivation and focus. Dopamine creates a success loop. The more you act, the more dopamine you get, and the easier it becomes to take action in the future. This rewires your brain to associate action with progress and reward. The result? The more you take action, the less you overthink. The more you take action, the easier it becomes to make decisions. The more you take action, the more confidence you develop over time. This is why people who are action-oriented tend to be more successful, happier, and less anxious. Thinking does not create confidence, action does. The psychological trap of thinking instead of doing. Most overthinkers fall into a dangerous pattern called action procrastination, where they substitute thinking for actually doing. Instead of starting a project, they research endlessly. Instead of making a decision, they analyze all the possible outcomes. Instead of trying something new, they wait until they feel ready. But here's the harsh truth. No amount of thinking will prepare you for real action. At some point, you have to step forward, make mistakes, and learn through experience. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to take action. How overthinking kills momentum and progress. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in human behavior. When you are in motion, it's easy to keep going. When you hesitate, it becomes harder to move. When you stop completely, it takes even more effort to start again. Overthinking kills momentum by trapping you in hesitation mode. Successful people don't wait for motivation. They take action first, and motivation follows. If you take one small action today, you will feel more motivated tomorrow. The key is to stop waiting and start moving. Let's look at how some of the most successful individuals apply this mindset. Real-life example. How Elon Musk uses action to defeat overthinking. Elon Musk is known for making bold, fast decisions. When he founded SpaceX, many people doubted his ability to build a private space company. Instead of spending years overthinking, he focused on rapid trial and error. His philosophy? Fail fast, learn fast, move fast. Instead of analyzing every possible failure, he took action, learned from mistakes, and improved quickly. This is the mindset of action takers. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't let fear of failure stop them. They act first, adjust later. This is the key to stopping overthinking. Commit to movement, not mental loops. Now, let's dive into the practical strategies to train your brain to take action immediately. Practical strategies to train yourself to take action without hesitation. If you struggle with overthinking, hesitation, or procrastination, these techniques will help you break the cycle and take action immediately. 1. The 5-second rule for breaking hesitation. Developed by Mel Robbins, the 5-second rule is one of the most effective ways to stop overthinking. Here's how it works. The moment you feel hesitation, count 5-4-3-2-1 in your head. The second you reach 1, physically move, stand up, start writing, make the call, take the step. Do not let your brain talk you out of it. This method interrupts overthinking before it starts and forces your brain to act. 2. The one small step method. Overthinking happens when you focus on the entire journey instead of just the first step. To break this pattern, identify the task you are avoiding. Break it down into the smallest possible action. Commit to just that one step. Example. Instead of, I need to write a book, say, I will write one sentence. Instead of, I need to start a business, say, I will email one potential client. Instead of, I need to work out, say, I will do 10 push-ups. Once you take that first step, momentum will carry you forward. 3. The imperfect action rule. Many people overthink because they fear making mistakes. The solution? Commit to taking imperfect action. Make decisions quickly, even if they aren't perfect. Take action before you feel ready. Let go of perfection and focus on progress. Taking messy action is better than waiting for the perfect moment. 4. The 80% confidence rule. Instead of waiting until you feel 100% ready, act when you are 80% sure. If you feel 80% sure about a decision, make it. If you feel 80% prepared for a challenge, start. If you have 80% of the information you need, move forward. Waiting for 100% certainty leads to inaction. 80% is enough. 5. The action accountability system. People who track their actions take more action. Write down one action step every morning. At the end of the day, review what you did. Celebrate progress, no matter how small. This trains your brain to focus on movement, not just thinking. Conclusion: consistent action eliminates overthinking. Overthinking disappears when you shift from thinking to doing. By implementing these strategies, you will stop hesitating and start moving. Make decisions faster and with more confidence. Rewire your brain to embrace action over fear. In the next chapter, we will explore how to let go of regret and move forward with clarity and confidence. For now, remember this: you don't need to feel ready to take action. You just need to take action, and readiness will follow. Chapter 9. Overcoming Regret and Learning from the Past. Introduction. Why regret keeps us stuck in overthinking. Have you ever found yourself replaying a past mistake over and over? Maybe you wish you had taken a different opportunity, said something different in a conversation, or avoided a choice that led to disappointment. Regret is one of the most powerful forms of overthinking because it traps us in a mental time loop, forcing us to relive the past without being able to change it. The truth is, everyone experiences regret at some point, but some people stay stuck in it for years, while others use it as fuel to grow, evolve, and move forward. In this chapter, we will explore the psychology of regret and how the brain processes past mistakes, the two main types of regret, and why one is far worse than the other, the science of letting go, and how your brain rewires itself when you release the past, how overcoming regret leads to greater confidence and inner peace, real-life stories of people who transformed regret into success, practical strategies to stop regretting the past and start building a better future. By the end of this chapter, you will have a step-by-step system to release regret, reframe past mistakes, and move forward with clarity. The psychology of regret. How the brain processes past mistakes. Regret is a natural emotional and cognitive response to a decision that we perceive as a mistake. When we regret something, our brain replays the event repeatedly, analyzing what went wrong, imagines alternate scenarios, thinking about what could have been, attaches emotional pain to the memory, making it feel fresh every time we think about it. This is because the brain treats emotional pain similarly to physical pain. Studies have shown that when people experience regret or shame, their brain activates the same pain centers as a physical injury. This explains why reliving a bad decision can feel so painful. Your brain is literally treating it as if it is happening again in real time. The problem is, the more we focus on regret, the stronger those neural connections become, making it even harder to let go. But not all regret is the same. Some regrets are easier to release than others. The two types of regret: action versus inaction. Which is worse? Psychologists classify regret into two main categories. Regret of action, regretting something you did. I shouldn't have quit my job. I shouldn't have said those words. I shouldn't have trusted that person. Regret of inaction, regretting something you didn't do. I should have taken that opportunity. I should have told them how I felt. I should have chased my dream instead of settling. Studies show that in the short term, people regret their actions more. If you said something hurtful or made a poor decision, the regret feels intense at first. However, in the long term, people regret inaction far more. As years pass, the pain of mistakes fades, but the regret of never trying, never taking risks, and never chasing dreams remains. This is why, at the end of life, people often regret not following their passions, not spending enough time with loved ones, not taking more chances in life. The biggest regrets are often the risks we didn't take. The science of letting go. How the brain rewires itself when you release regret. Letting go of regret is not just an emotional process, it's a neurological one. Neuroscientists have found that the brain has neuroplasticity, which means it can rewire itself based on how we think. When you dwell on regret, your brain strengthens neural pathways linked to pain and self-doubt. Shift your perspective. Your brain weakens those pathways and creates new ones for resilience and self-growth. This is why people who actively practice self-compassion and reframing techniques experience lower levels of anxiety and depression, more emotional resilience, greater mental clarity and optimism. The brain is like a muscle. The more you focus on moving forward instead of looking back, the stronger that mindset becomes. Let's look at how some of the most successful people in history overcame regret. Real-life example: how Nelson Mandela overcame regret and transformed his life. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison for fighting against apartheid in South Africa. When he was released, he had two choices: hold on to anger and regret the years he lost, let go, forgive, and focus on building a better future. Mandela chose the path of forgiveness and progress. Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. Instead of being bitter, he used his experience to unite a divided nation and became one of the most respected leaders in history. This teaches us the past cannot be changed, but our response to it can. Letting go is not about forgetting. It's about freeing yourself. Now, let's dive into practical strategies to help you release regret and move forward. Practical strategies to overcome regret and reframe the past. If you struggle with regret, these exercises will train your mind to release past mistakes and focus on the future. 1. The self-compassion reframe. Most people talk to themselves harshly when they regret something. Instead of saying, "I was so stupid for doing that. I should have known better," reframe it with self-compassion. "I did the best I could with the knowledge I had at the time. Mistakes are how I grow and learn." Studies show that people who practice self-compassion have better mental health and lower stress levels. 2. The "what did this teach me?" method. Instead of seeing regret as a burden, see it as a lesson. Ask yourself, what did this experience teach me? How can I use this knowledge to make better choices moving forward? This shifts your brain from dwelling on the past to focusing on growth. 3. The time perspective shift. Imagine yourself 5 years in the future. Will this regret still matter? Will it define your life? Most of the time, what feels huge today will be insignificant in the long run. This helps put things into perspective and reduces the emotional weight of regret. 4. The letter to your past self exercise. Write a letter to your past self. Forgive yourself for mistakes. Acknowledge your growth. Remind yourself that you are still evolving. This exercise helps you release guilt and embrace your personal journey. 5. The one small act of redemption strategy. If your regret involves hurting someone or missing an opportunity, take one small action to make amends. Apologize to someone. Start the thing you wish you had done. Help someone who is in a similar situation. By turning regret into constructive action, you shift from feeling stuck to feeling empowered. Conclusion: learn from the past, but don't live in it. Regret is not meant to be a prison. It is meant to be a teacher. By implementing these strategies, you will release past mistakes, reframe regret as a lesson, move forward with clarity and peace. In the next chapter, we will explore how to embrace uncertainty and let go of the need for control. For now, remember this: don't look back. You're not going that way. Chapter 10. The Art of Embracing Uncertainty. Introduction. Why uncertainty creates anxiety and overthinking. Have you ever wished you could see into the future? What if you knew exactly how a decision would turn out before making it? What if you had a guarantee that everything in life would go exactly as planned? At first, this sounds like it would bring peace of mind. But in reality, life is full of uncertainty, and that's what makes it meaningful. Yet, for many people, uncertainty creates fear, anxiety, and overthinking. You hesitate to take action because you're not sure of the outcome. You try to predict every possible scenario before making a decision. You seek control over things that are fundamentally uncontrollable. But here's the truth. The more you try to control everything, the more anxious and overwhelmed you become. The key to breaking free from overthinking? Learning to embrace uncertainty. In this chapter, we will explore why the brain fears uncertainty and how it tries to create a false sense of control. How resisting uncertainty leads to stress, anxiety, and inaction. The science of mental flexibility and how to train your brain to be comfortable with the unknown. Real-life examples of people who turned uncertainty into opportunity. Practical strategies to develop confidence in the face of uncertainty. By the end of this chapter, You will have a step-by-step system to stop fearing the unknown and start embracing life with courage and trust. The psychology of uncertainty, how the brain seeks control. Your brain hates uncertainty. From an evolutionary standpoint, humans are wired to seek stability and predictability. In the past, uncertainty meant danger, a lack of food, shelter, or protection. That's why the brain tries to predict the future to avoid negative surprises, creates mental simulations of worst-case scenarios, seeks control over people, situations, and outcomes. The problem? Most of life is uncertain, and trying to control the uncontrollable creates unnecessary suffering. Let's explore why this happens. Why trying to control everything leads to more stress. When we fear uncertainty, we develop control-seeking behaviors, overanalyzing decisions to eliminate all risk, obsessing over small details to avoid mistakes, constantly checking and rechecking plans, emails, or messages, trying to control other people's actions or opinions. While this might feel like taking charge, it actually creates more stress. The more you try to control things, the more you realize you can't. The more you try to predict the future, the more uncertain it seems. The more you try to eliminate risk, the more you limit your own growth. This is called the illusion of control, the false belief that you can predict or manipulate life's outcomes. Real peace comes not from controlling life, but from learning to flow with it. Let's look at how neuroscience supports this idea. The science of mental flexibility, how adapting to uncertainty creates resilience. Neuroscientists have found that mentally strong people have high cognitive flexibility, the ability to adapt to uncertainty and adjust to unexpected changes. This is because the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thinking and problem-solving, functions better under uncertainty when trained properly. Studies show that people who embrace uncertainty experience less anxiety and depression, make decisions faster and with greater confidence, are more resilient in the face of setbacks. Instead of seeing uncertainty as a threat, they see it as an opportunity for learning and growth. This is the mindset we need to cultivate. Let's look at real-life examples of how people have thrived in uncertain situations. Real-life example: how Steve Jobs used uncertainty to create innovation. When Steve Jobs was forced out of Apple in 1985, he faced total uncertainty. He had two choices: dwell on the fact that he had lost control over the company he founded, embrace the uncertainty, and use it as an opportunity to create something new. Instead of overthinking and trying to regain control, he started Next and Pixar, two companies that would later revolutionize the tech and film industries. When he returned to Apple years later, he used those lessons to turn the company into one of the most successful in history. This teaches us an important lesson. Uncertainty is not a barrier. It is the birthplace of innovation and growth. Now, let's explore practical strategies to help you become more comfortable with the unknown. Practical strategies to become comfortable with uncertainty. If you struggle with uncertainty, these exercises will train your mind to let go of the need for control and trust the process of life. 1. The control versus influence mindset shift. Many people overthink because they confuse control with influence. Control, things you have total power over, your actions, decisions, and mindset. Influence, things you can guide but not control, other people, circumstances, and outcomes. To practice this, make a list of things you are overthinking about. Ask, is this something I can control or just influence? If you can control it, take action. If you can only influence it, let go of the need for certainty. This simple exercise immediately reduces stress by shifting your focus to what actually matters. 2. The worst-case scenario reality check. Fear of uncertainty often comes from exaggerating the worst-case scenario in our minds. Try this. Write down the worst thing that could happen if things don't go as planned. Then ask, how likely is this to happen? Next, ask, even if it did happen, could I handle it? 99% of the time, you'll realize that the worst-case scenario is not as bad as you think. You are capable of handling more than you give yourself credit for. This exercise helps retrain your brain to see uncertainty as manageable. 3. The uncertainty exposure exercise. To build resilience, start small daily challenges that introduce uncertainty into your routine. Take a new route to work. Try a new hobby or activity. Let someone else choose your meal at a restaurant. These small actions train your brain to see uncertainty as normal and not threatening. 4. The adaptation mindset training. Instead of trying to avoid uncertainty, practice seeing it as an adventure. Instead of, what if things go wrong? Ask, what if this leads to something amazing? Instead of fearing uncertainty, welcome it as an opportunity to grow. This shift in perspective turns uncertainty from something to avoid into something to embrace. 5. The present moment anchor technique. One of the best ways to deal with uncertainty is to focus on the present moment rather than the unknown future. Try this. Take 3 deep breaths. Look around and name 3 things you can see, hear, or feel. Remind yourself, right now, I am safe and everything is okay. By training your brain to stay in the present, you naturally reduce anxiety about the future. Conclusion. How embracing uncertainty leads to a life of less fear and more possibility. Uncertainty is a part of life, but it does not have to be a source of fear. By implementing these strategies, you will let go of the need for total control, develop mental resilience and adaptability, see uncertainty as an opportunity rather than a threat. In the next chapter, we will explore how to create a new mental framework for a stress-free life. For now, remember this. The most beautiful things in life happen when you stop trying to control everything and start embracing the unknown. Chapter 10. The Art of Embracing Uncertainty. Introduction. Why uncertainty creates anxiety and overthinking. Have you ever wished you could see into the future? What if you knew exactly how a decision would turn out before making it? What if you had a guarantee that everything in life would go exactly as planned? At first, this sounds like it would bring peace of mind. But in reality, life is full of uncertainty, and that's what makes it meaningful. Yet, for many people, uncertainty creates fear, anxiety, and overthinking. You hesitate to take action because you're not sure of the outcome. You try to predict every possible scenario before making a decision. You seek control over things that are fundamentally uncontrollable. But here's the truth. The more you try to control everything, the more anxious and overwhelmed you become. The key to breaking free from overthinking? Learning to embrace uncertainty. In this chapter, we will explore why the brain fears uncertainty and how it tries to create a false sense of control, how resisting uncertainty leads to stress, anxiety, and inaction, the science of mental flexibility, and how to train your brain to be comfortable with the unknown. Real-life examples of people who turned uncertainty into opportunity. Practical strategies to develop confidence in the face of uncertainty. By the end of this chapter, you will have a step-by-step system to stop fearing the unknown and start embracing life with courage and trust. The psychology of uncertainty. How the brain seeks control. Your brain hates uncertainty. From an evolutionary standpoint, humans are wired to seek stability and predictability. In the past, uncertainty meant danger, a lack of food, shelter, or protection. That's why the brain tries to predict the future to avoid negative surprises, creates mental simulations of worst-case scenarios, seeks control over people, situations, and outcomes. The problem? Most of life is uncertain, and trying to control the uncontrollable creates unnecessary suffering. Let's explore why this happens. Why trying to control everything leads to more stress. When we fear uncertainty, we develop control-seeking behaviors, overanalyzing decisions to eliminate all risk, obsessing over small details to avoid mistakes, constantly checking and rechecking plans, emails, or messages, trying to control other people's actions or opinions. While this might feel like taking charge, it actually creates more stress. The more you try to control things, the more you realize you can't. The more you try to predict the future, the more uncertain it seems. The more you try to eliminate risk, the more you limit your own growth. This is called the illusion of control, the false belief that you can predict or manipulate life's outcomes. Real peace comes not from controlling life, but from learning to flow with it. Let's look at how neuroscience supports this idea. The science of mental flexibility. How adapting to uncertainty creates resilience. Neuroscientists have found that mentally strong people have high cognitive flexibility, the ability to adapt to uncertainty and adjust to unexpected changes. This is because the prefrontal cortex, The part of the brain responsible for rational thinking and problem-solving functions better under uncertainty when trained properly. Studies show that people who embrace uncertainty experience less anxiety and depression, make decisions faster and with greater confidence, are more resilient in the face of setbacks. Instead of seeing uncertainty as a threat, they see it as an opportunity for learning and growth. This is the mindset we need to cultivate. Let's look at real-life examples of how people have thrived in uncertain situations. Real-life example: how Steve Jobs used uncertainty to create innovation. When Steve Jobs was forced out of Apple in 1985, he faced total uncertainty. He had two choices: dwell on the fact that he had lost control over the company he founded, embrace the uncertainty, and use it as an opportunity to create something new. Instead of overthinking and trying to regain control, he started Next and Pixar, two companies that would later revolutionize the tech and film industries. When he returned to Apple years later, he used those lessons to turn the company into one of the most successful in history. This teaches us an important lesson. Uncertainty is not a barrier. It is the birthplace of innovation and growth. Now, let's explore practical strategies to help you become more comfortable with the unknown. Practical strategies to become comfortable with uncertainty. If you struggle with uncertainty, these exercises will train your mind to let go of the need for control and trust the process of life. 1. The control versus influence mindset shift. Many people overthink because they confuse control with influence. Control, things you have total power over, your actions, decisions, and mindset. Influence, things you can guide but not control, other people, circumstances, and outcomes. To practice this, make a list of things you are overthinking about. Ask, is this something I can control or just influence? If you can control it, take action. If you can only influence it, let go of the need for certainty. This simple exercise immediately reduces stress by shifting your focus to what actually matters. 2. The worst-case scenario reality check. Fear of uncertainty often comes from exaggerating the worst-case scenario in our minds. Try this. Write down the worst thing that could happen if things don't go as planned. Then ask, how likely is this to happen? Next, ask, even if it did happen, could I handle it? 99% of the time, you'll realize that the worst-case scenario is not as bad as you think. You are capable of handling more than you give yourself credit for. This exercise helps retrain your brain to see uncertainty as manageable. 3. The uncertainty exposure exercise. To build resilience, start small daily challenges that introduce uncertainty into your routine. Take a new route to work. Try a new hobby or activity. Let someone else choose your meal at a restaurant. These small actions train your brain to see uncertainty as normal and not threatening. 4. The adaptation mindset training. Instead of trying to avoid uncertainty, practice seeing it as an adventure. Instead of, what if things go wrong? Ask, what if this leads to something amazing? Instead of fearing uncertainty, welcome it as an opportunity to grow. This shift in perspective turns uncertainty from something to avoid into something to embrace. 5. The present moment anchor technique. One of the best ways to deal with uncertainty is to focus on the present moment rather than the unknown future. Try this. Take 3 deep breaths. Look around and name 3 things you can see, hear, or feel. Remind yourself, right now, I am safe and everything is okay. By training your brain to stay in the present, you naturally reduce anxiety about the future. Conclusion: how embracing uncertainty leads to a life of less fear and more possibility. Uncertainty is a part of life, but it does not have to be a source of fear. By implementing these strategies, you will let go of the need for total control, develop mental resilience and adaptability, see uncertainty as an opportunity rather than a threat. In the next chapter, we will explore how to create a new mental framework for a stress-free life. For now, remember this: the most beautiful things in life happen when you stop trying to control everything and start embracing the unknown. Chapter 12. Daily Practices to Maintain Mental Clarity. Introduction. Why mental clarity is a daily practice, not a one-time achievement. Imagine cleaning your house thoroughly once and expecting it to stay clean forever. No dust, no clutter, no mess. That sounds unrealistic, right? The same applies to mental clarity. You cannot expect your mind to stay clear, focused, and stress-free without consistent upkeep. Overthinking is like mental clutter. It accumulates when left unchecked. If you don't actively manage your thoughts, stress builds up. If you don't structure your days intentionally, distractions take over. If you don't clear your mind regularly, old thought patterns return. The key to long-term clarity is developing daily habits that prevent mental overload. In this chapter, we will explore why the mind naturally returns to overthinking without maintenance, the science of mental upkeep, how small habits create lasting clarity, the power of structured routines for preventing stress and overthinking, real-life examples of how successful people maintain clarity, practical daily practices to keep your mind clear, focused, and stress-free. By the end of this chapter, you will have a step-by-step daily framework to ensure your mind stays calm, clear, and productive. The science of mental maintenance, how small daily habits create long-term clarity. Neuroscientists have found that the brain functions like a muscle. The more you train it to be clear and focused, the stronger it becomes. When you engage in intentional mental upkeep, you strengthen neural pathways for clarity and focus, reduce stress hormones that trigger overthinking, increase cognitive efficiency, making decisions easier. Studies show that daily mental clarity practices reduce anxiety by 40%, increase focus by 37%, boost decision-making confidence by 50%. This means that mental clarity is not something you have, it's something you cultivate. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Why the mind naturally returns to overthinking without maintenance. Just as a house gets dusty if not cleaned, your mind accumulates clutter if you don't actively manage it. Here's why. The default mode network, DMN, keeps running. The brain has a built-in system called the default mode network, DMN, responsible for mind wandering and daydreaming. If left unchecked, the DMN keeps pulling your attention back to worries, regrets, and mental loops. Stress triggers old thought patterns. Without daily mental clarity habits, stress can reactivate old habits of overanalyzing, self-doubt, and indecision. External noise distracts you. Social media, news, and everyday distractions fill your mind with unnecessary input, leading to mental overload. The solution? Daily structured mental clarity practices that prevent clutter from accumulating. Let's explore how successful people apply this in their lives. Real-life example. How Warren Buffett uses mental simplicity to stay focused. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in history, has a simple mental clarity rule. I only make a few important decisions a year. Everything else is noise. Instead of cluttering his mind with unnecessary decisions, he eliminates minor choices. He eats the same breakfast daily. Spends most of his time thinking, not reacting. Focuses only on long-term, high-impact decisions. This approach keeps his mind clear and focused, preventing mental exhaustion. Lesson: if you want clarity, you must simplify your mental space and prioritize what truly matters. Now, let's explore practical daily routines to maintain mental clarity. Daily practices for long-term mental clarity. If you want to maintain a clear, stress-free mind, practice these daily habits. 1. The morning clarity ritual. The way you start your day determines your mental state for the rest of it. Try this 10-minute clarity ritual each morning. Breathe deeply for 1 minute to reset your nervous system. Write down 3 things you are grateful for to shift your mind to positivity. Set a simple intention for the day to create focus. Decide the one most important task for the day to avoid decision fatigue. This clears your mind before distractions take over, setting a calm and focused tone for the day. 2. The one decision rule for simplified thinking. Overthinking happens when you try to make too many decisions. The one decision rule simplifies this. Each day, make one important decision early. Everything else follows that. For minor choices, create automatic rules, e.g., wear similar clothes, eat the same breakfast. For ongoing projects, commit to a decision once, then execute without rethinking. This prevents mental fatigue, allowing your brain to focus on what truly matters. 3. The thought reset technique. Throughout the day, negative or repetitive thoughts may arise. To reset your mind instantly, pause and take 3 deep breaths. Label the thought. This is just my brain trying to overthink. Redirect your focus. Ask, what action can I take right now? This trains your brain to break overthinking loops instantly. 4. The end-of-day mental cleanse. Before bed, clear your mind from the day's mental clutter. Try this 5-minute brain dump journaling exercise. Write down anything that's bothering you. List 1 to 3 things that went well. Identify 1 thing to improve tomorrow. End with a relaxation practice, deep breathing, reading, or stretching. This prevents nighttime overthinking and improves sleep quality. 5. The digital mindfulness routine. Your brain is not designed to process unlimited digital input. To maintain clarity, start the day without checking your phone for 30 minutes. Schedule phone-free blocks during the day. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Avoid screens 30 to 60 minutes before bed. This protects your brain from information overload, reducing anxiety and improving focus. Conclusion: how consistent mental habits lead to lifelong clarity and peace. Mental clarity is not a one-time achievement, it's a daily commitment. By implementing these habits, you will start your day with focus and intention, simplify decisions, and reduce overthinking, prevent mental overload from distractions, end your day with a clear, peaceful mind. Final thought: a clear mind leads to a clear life. The key is daily maintenance. By integrating these small habits, you create a lifetime of mental clarity, peace, and confidence. Conclusion: the freedom that comes with letting go. You have reached the end of this book, but in many ways, this is just the beginning. The beginning of a clearer mind. The beginning of fewer doubts and more confidence. The beginning of a life no longer controlled by overthinking, fear, or regret. Letting go is not about forgetting the past or avoiding responsibility. It is about freeing yourself from the mental burdens that no longer serve you. Throughout this book, we explored why overthinking happens and how to break free from it, how to release past regrets, self-doubt, and the need for control, how action is the fastest cure for mental paralysis, how to embrace uncertainty and trust yourself fully, daily habits to ensure lifelong clarity, confidence, and peace. The knowledge is now in your hands. But knowledge alone does not create transformation. Action does. The 3 commitments for a life of mental clarity. If you take only 3 things from this book, let them be these. 1. Trust yourself more than your doubts. Doubt will always whisper in the background, but it does not have to be your guide. Trust that you can handle whatever comes your way. 2. Take action, even when you feel uncertain. Clarity is not found in overanalyzing. It is found in doing. Take the first step, then adjust along the way. 3. Let go of what you cannot control. Holding on to regret, fear, or perfectionism only slows you down. Free yourself from the weight of the uncontrollable and focus on what you can influence. Your next chapter begins now. Life is unpredictable. There will be moments when overthinking tries to creep back in. Moments when fear whispers louder than trust. Moments when you feel stuck between overanalyzing and acting. But now, you have a new framework. You know how to quiet the mental noise. You know how to trust yourself and move forward. You know how to let go and embrace life fully. You are no longer trapped in the cycle of overthinking. Now, go forward. Make decisions with confidence. Act without hesitation. Live without mental chains. Because the moment you stop overthinking and start living, you unlock true freedom. Your mind was never meant to be a prison. Unlock the door. Step out and live with clarity. Thank you for taking this journey. Your new life begins today. Final step, your personal action plan. To help you stay on track, revisit these principles regularly. White heavy checkmark: reread the key strategies in this book whenever you feel stuck. White heavy checkmark: start small. One mindset shift, one action step at a time. White heavy checkmark: trust that progress is more important than perfection. Let this be the book that changed how you think forever. Now, go live your life with clarity, confidence, and freedom.